Hi Yogi and welcome to your practice. My name is Alan. This is Yin Yoga. So for this particular practice, we will be focusing on our inner thighs, and that would include your groin area, your hamstring side, the back side of your upper leg. That would be your thighs, and then some parts, of course, of your quads, the tops of your thighs as well. That would also include your hip flexors, the one in front of the sides of your hips, and then some of which, of course, would impact your knees. At this point, I would suggest that you would have two blocks with you, your yoga blocks, or if you have your thick pillows, as support for your lower body. So if you need more access and more cushion for your poses, then go ahead, grab them now. So I invite you to sit on your sukhasana, your easy seated pose, crossing your legs, and then placing your hands right on top of your knees with your index finger and your thumbs touching each other to your Gyan Mudra. You may gaze downwards or simply gaze at a point that is not moving. Allow yourself to stay at the moment. Now begin tuning into your breath. Inhaling to your nose. Exhaling to your nose. And every time that there are thoughts that would wander in the head, then acknowledge them. Allow yourself to come back to the pose. When it comes to Yin Yoga, it's not much of what needs to be done in your asana, your pose, but instead, what is or what does the body would feel. Now take one big inhale. Open your left side out. Come back to center, and we'll begin with our set of poses for today. So, have your heels together, and then the distance between your groin area and your heels is about 2 to 3 fists. Alright? So, allow yourself to just let the knees splay out. And then making sure that even your your thighs, your knees, and your ankles, as well as your feet, are on your mat. So we don't need to really pull the heels closer to the groin. That would mean a lot of tension coming from the external thighs. So at this point, if your knees are still hanging, you may even pull your heels a little farther away from you. And what we're focusing on is the expansion and the stretch of our inner thighs, right? So when you're ready, begin to have your blocks right outside of your feet. And what we will do here is we're gonna place our elbows, our forearms on the blocks. So at this point, gravity will do its work. So let me just adjust myself so you can see me clearly. And when you're ready, begin to walk your hands forward until you can drop your elbows on the blocks. For some of us, we can actually have access and reach your elbows down on the floor. But if you're feeling there's already that tension on your outer thighs, the surface of your quads, or the outside of your knees, then go ahead. You might need your blocks, your books, or your thick pillow. So go ahead. It's as if your face is directly over your feet, the soles of your feet. And from here, we're gonna stay here for a couple of minutes. So any tension coming from the neck, let go of it. And just allow your back to soften, maybe rounding your back if you can. You may even walk further forward with your arms, with your forearms. And just make sure to notice your tipping point. It's the point wherein you can still tolerate it, but you can also try to go beyond it. But if you're feeling a little bit too tight at this point, you can always step back and join us later on. The yin yoga allows us to slow things down and would allow you to ground with the poses that you are in. Slowly inhale, begin to gaze forward and walk your hands back closer to you as you push yourself up, and notice how you are in your pose. From here, we're gonna do half butterfly. And so when you're ready, so set aside first your blocks, and you might need them later on. But in the meantime, begin to extend your right leg to the side, flexing your right toes up. And then pull your left heel closer to your groin. And at this point, notice if your sit bones are flat on the ground. If there is a chance that one part of the hip is hanging, you may slip onto a towel or a blanket, fold or roll it over in order for the other hip to be in contact on the ground. When you're ready, you'll be extending your right arm and hook your right big toe with your first three fingers, your index finger, your thumb, and your middle finger. Begin to pull your right elbow down to your right knee, and then from here, you may stay here, or if you want a deeper stretch, begin to lift your left arm up and just point towards your right toes. We'll stay here for a while. Now, some of you would have their right elbow way in front of their right knee, and that is fine. This is for those of you who have longer upper limbs. And you can really feel not just the stretch of the inner thigh, but also the expansion of your left rib cage. As we continue to stay on the pose, you might be able to reach for the opposite toe, but instead keep on opening your chest, stacking your shoulders instead of rounding inwards. So keep on expanding on your left rib cage. At this point, you might also feel the deepening of the extension of your right leg. So you can feel it along the lines or the inner part of your right thigh, your right calf muscle, or even the right knee joint. Slowly begin to inhale, lifting your body, your left arm up, and releasing. We're gonna stay here for a while before we switch to the left side. Now on your next inhale, begin to extend your left leg to the side, and then pull your right heel closer to your groin. Now, if you notice that the left toes are flexed all the way to the top, so try to keep on doing this instead of flexing forward to activate the stretch of your inner thigh up to your left calf muscle. So from here, extend your left arm to reach the left big toe. Hook it and then pull your left elbow down to your left knee. Again, some of you will see that their elbow goes beyond or forward in front of your left leg. Then do that as well if you have longer upper limbs. When you're ready with your right arm, begin to extend and reach all the way above your head as you reach your opposite toes. Now, some of you might see themselves trying to reach, but if you can see that your right arm is covering your face, then go ahead, come back as you open your chest. So we are focusing not just on the stretch of your inner thigh, of your inner left thigh, but as well as expansion of the right ribs and the contraction of the left side of your body. Stay. Now again, find your tipping point. Allow the stira, the effort and the sukha in your asana, the ease in your pose. Slowly inhale, begin to rise up. And we're just gonna stay here for a while to let the joints release and relax. Now at this point, we did the butterfly and the half butterfly. Now, what we will do next is the dragonfly pose, wherein we're gonna extend both legs. And at this point, both legs are stretched, but it's not on their most stretched, meaning to say you don't really need to feel the first up is the tension coming from behind, meaning to say if you can really already feel the stretch coming from the outer thighs, then step back. If you feel the compression of your hip joint against the trochanter or the greater trochanter of your upper limb, technically that would be the side of your hip rubbing against the upper leg, then step back as well. Because what we will do up next, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have my blocks with me to assist me to be able to move forward, hinging forward and feeling that deep connection. Now at this point, your option here is to keep flexing your toes, or if you are hinging, meaning your hips are turning or tilting outwards, then you might see yourself pointing your toes outwards. So, and that's just fine. At this point, we are focusing on the stretch of your inner thigh. So when you're ready, begin to walk your hands forward until you can drop your elbows on the ground. For others, your option here is to make use of the blocks, either in their mid-height or their tallest height. So go ahead. We're gonna stay here for a couple of minutes. And if there are any strain around your neck, just try to create and breathe on that area so that you'd be able to round your back, surrender your shoulders, surrender your elbows down on your mat or maybe on your pillow or on your block. If you need to readjust, then do so. If you feel that there are already pins and needles and you need to step back or maybe go further, then either one, you will walk forward deeper into the pose rather, or allow your legs to spread wider. Now slowly on your next inhale, you're gonna walk your hands back on your blocks, maybe on your mat, until you can place your hands right close to your groin, to your hips, and relax here for a while. We're gonna bend our knees, so set aside the blocks. And we're just gonna release the tension from your inner thigh. So again, because this is too much, take your time to come out of the pose. There's no need to rush for yin yoga. But again, this is yin, so very, very slow, but also with intent, conscious effort of your movement. When you're ready, with your knees bent, we're gonna windshield wipe as you drop your right knee to the side, followed by the left knee. At this point, you're gonna lift your chest and sit upright in order for you to really release the inner thigh of first of your left side of your left leg as well as your right leg. We'll be doing one last pose after this, and then we shall release and we'll have a really, really good rest. Slowly inhale, lift your right knee followed by the left knee. We're gonna turn onto the other side. So go ahead, drop your left knee and then followed by your right knee. Now, teach where do I place my hands. You're gonna place your hands where it will land naturally. So you may place it inside your thigh, inside your legs, or maybe in front, but making sure that you have your spine erect. Okay? Slowly come back to center. Inhale. And what we're gonna do last is your frog straddle. So, sweep your feet under on your tabletop, and your option is to use the blocks to assist you if the stretch or the expansion of your inner thigh is way too deep on the floor. If you have a bolster or a thick pillow, then you might need to roll it vertically parallel to the long side of the mat, so you'd be able to have cushion for your belly and your chest. So when you're ready, come down on your forearms, on your elbows. Begin to spread your knees wide. As you bend your knees, and when you're ready, at this point, I will now set aside my blocks and stay here for a while. You'll be on your elbows as you lift your chest off the floor. You might feel some stress against your knees on the floor, so you might want to slip onto a blanket or a towel to create cushion for your legs. You may even rest your head on top of your hands and stay. Slowly on your next inhale, walk your hands under your shoulders. You're gonna press yourself up first, tuck the toes under, lift your chest, your knees off the floor, and then sweep your legs under. We're gonna turn over on our backs with so much stress coming from our inner thighs. We shall now let it rest. So go ahead, lie on your backs, bend your knees and plant your feet on the floor. Begin to trace your feet on the outer edges of your mat, and then begin to collapse your knees inwards for a constructive rest. You may place your palms, your hands on your belly, and then from here we'll close our eyes. Allow yourself to rest here. Slowly come back to center. Begin to blink your eyes open and roll yourself to one side, extending one arm as your pillow. Stay here for a while. On your next inhale, pressing yourself up. Let's come back to our Sukhasana, your easy seated pose. And placing your palms down on your knees. Place your hands together in your heart center. Thank you so much for letting me lead you and guide you in your practice. I hope to see you again next time.